When you think of the Harlem Renaissance, who comes to mind? Langston Hughes, maybe? Or Josephine Baker or Louis Armstrong? There were, there was so much creative talent going on during the Harlem Renaissance. It was a renaissance. Art, theater, the arts in general. It was a time of creativity and growth, like a spontaneous fireworks show that lasted for a decade. And the woman who wrote Plum Bun, well, she was at the center. But have you heard of her? Jessie Redmond Faust. Do you know who she is? Well, first, let me tell you about the book. Then I'll tell you about her. The book, Plum Bun, is the story of a light skinned woman named Angela who, after the death of her mother, chooses to pass. Now, passing means that she pretends to be white because she's light enough to do so. Her goal, of course, is to escape racial and gender discrimination, only to find out that, discrimination happens on both sides of that fence, especially, specifically, when you're a woman. So, towards the end, she learns to love her new identity, or her old identity as a black person, and embraces it. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't finished the book yet. I'm about an hour in, and an hour audible time means we're still very much at the beginning. But so far, I can say it's a really good read. I think something that I find particularly interesting when I'm reading older books are that they are definitely written at a higher educational level than books nowadays. No shade any direction. But if you read a book, like not just by black writers, even Agatha Christie books, they're all written at a much higher level than the books that we read now. Again, no shade. Love books. Books are great. People should read. Everyone read all the time. What I really like about this book so far is it does a really interesting job of painting what her life is like and where she got this idea that somehow being light-skinned was better, and then how wrong she was for having it. Now, the idea of colorism isn't new in the black community. Honestly, it's not new in any marginalized community. Almost every race has a version of colorism, so it's not specifically us. But it is interesting when you think about colorism in the black community because people choosing to pass as white did so because they wanted to be able to get into good schools. Because remember, the law of the land for a very long time was separate but equal, and it was anything but equal. So for those who wanted a chance at getting into Ivy League schools or even being able to marry and live in nice areas, well, they chose to pass. I'm not saying that that was a good thing. I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I am telling you what people did historically. So for this book, I liked it, or I'm liking it so far. But what I like the most about it is the woman who wrote it, Jessie Redmond Faust. Now, you've probably never heard of her, and that is in itself its own kind of travesty because she was hugely can't say that word anymore, but she was deeply impactful when it comes to the Harlem Renaissance. Now, W.E.B. Du Bois helped found a magazine called The Crisis, which was the leading literary work for the NAACP at the time. It was the place to get published, and she, as the editor, helped bring on and nurture young voices, ones you absolutely have heard of, such as Langston Hughes. So, the woman behind all the magic is the woman we've forgotten. Similar to the man behind Black History Month. We tend to forget the people who start things, so we're going to stop doing that now. What I liked about Jessie Redmond Faust isn't just that she's an excellent writer. She's actually written 4 novels. The one we've chosen is actually the most famous. But what I also liked about her was her dedication to education. I'm sensing a trend here. Yes, you should be. Education's important. She actually had a master's degree in French. Dedication to arts right there. And after the decline of the Harlem Renaissance, she did go back into teaching, and she taught French to people. So education was one of the foundations of her own advancement, but she loved writing. She loved nurturing creative talent. She loved supporting Black creators.